National Empowerment Fund has approved an approximately 1 billion rand budget to help SMMEs affected by last year's KZN and Gauteng unrest to recover. The fund has partnered with the Trade and Industry Department as well as the Solidarity Fund to facilitate this. So to tell us more about this, we're joined by Andile Stemela from the National Empowerment Fund. Andile, good morning. Thank you so much for making time to talk to us this morning. I'm sure there was data presented to you before approving this budget, of course in partnership with the DTI and as well as the Solidarity Fund. What did the data tell you in terms of the distress with which SMMEs find themselves due to last year's July unrest?
Thanks for having me. Indeed, immediate studies around the impact of the unrest in July suggested to us that close to 30 billion rand worth of infrastructure damage had happened in and around KZN and Gauteng. These were estimates, of course, but it necessitated, I think, an immediate reaction from the broader government, but from ourselves as DFIs, being NEF, IDC, and other DFIs in South Africa.
And what do you think it would take then to reverse that impact that has been felt by not only SMMEs, but also, I mean, those who have lost their jobs due to this July unrest, the infrastructure recovery that's needed? What do you think it would take to recover?
So I think the recovery journey will be a long journey. But for us, it was to say, what's the little that we can do as the National Empowerment Fund in partnership with our shareholder, the DTIC, and the Solidarity Fund. And it was to immediately at least maintain or restore the jobs that were impacted as far as we could, given our modest resources. And thus we came together, put together this budget, and immediately sent teams out onto the ground as the NEF to assess the damage, but also to go out there and find all of these entrepreneurs who were pretty much in a very desolate state by post these riots, and to say, let us find a way to reinvest and to revive the business, and all you have to show for us is your intention to re-employ and at least maintain the jobs you had pre the unrest.
Yeah, and let's talk exactly about that, the criteria for funding, because I'm sure there will be processes, procedures followed before, a company can be approved for a certain amount for funding. Take me through what that criteria looks like, so that if someone needs the assistance from the NEF right now, they can just immediately check through this conversation whether they do qualify or not.
So the criteria was pretty much, I'll call it, made as simple as possible. There had to be proof that the business was domiciled in South Africa, i.e. registered with CIPC, and thus a corporate citizen of South Africa. And, proof of the actual damage that was incurred by the business, and then filling in the application forms and submitting to us an abridged list of documentation, because we understood, especially for the smaller businesses, that some of these businesses did not have, your lavish infrastructure like access to cloud and so on. Therefore, we literally had to work with the entrepreneurs to rebuild their historical financials so that we could establish the nature of the business pre the impact and be able to, find a suitable concessionary funding instrument that would ensure the resuscitation of the operations.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I repeated this earlier on to Bongi Kunene from the Banking Association of South Africa, what Sasria had mentioned right here on eNCA, more of concerns of possible future civil unrest as we've seen last year. What's been the engagement like between yourself as the National Empowerment Fund and these SMMEs to better prepare to, secure their businesses for any possible, and I mean, I say this hoping that this doesn't happen again, but to ensure that they better cushion themselves and protect themselves as small, medium enterprise against, possible unrest?
That's right. I think, that importance was core to part of the work we're doing, was to say, going forward, what is the best way that we can step in to ensure that the business, should it ever be impacted in such a way, again, has access to insurance facilities, has effective, financial management systems, where they can easily, get onto any computer and be able to access their financials, to be able to approach a bank or the insurer where claims are being processed to prove the nature of or the impact of the business on the of any kind of unrest on the operation. So, the undertakings that were made by the businesses that we funded was that they would, get insured and ensure that, they at least maintain their insurance cover for as long as possible to secure them against such incidents.
All right. Well, I appreciate you speaking to us this morning. Andile Stemela from the National Empowerment Fund. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning. Delving more into the partnership they've ventured into with the Solidarity Fund's humanitarian crisis relief, as well as the DTIC, a 1 billion rand budget approved there to assist SMMEs and also safeguard and secure close to 10,000 jobs.